Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shauna Lee, the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Start Again with Shauna Lee. And today I have brought in my friend Sadie Marie to talk about what she's been up to. She and I met. I was actually a guest on her podcast, which I would love for her to tell you more about. But we were actually discussing on season 1 of her podcast, Divorced Mom Moments. So we will definitely link that episode for you, and you'll want to go listen to it. But Sadie, thank you so much for joining me today.
So thanks for inviting me. And there are just so many divorced mom moments, aren't there?
There are.
That was endless.
It was such a fun conversation. I got to meet and actually connect with some women that are doing some really great things around the country. So I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, I love connecting women to awesome women and men to awesome men in general. It's fun to be a connector.
Yes. All the connections. Well, I think a good place for us to start is where I usually start, and that is for you to give a brief intro. And in that intro, if you would tell people how you identify as a Start Again queen.
Oh, goodness. I love that intro. So I have been divorced for about 4 years now, and that was a huge part of my Start Again story. But I started this podcast, Sadie's Divorced and Happy, because, and I'll share more a little bit about why I wanted to do that. But mostly it was around my start again after divorce, because it taught me that life after divorce could lead to so much happiness. I've had a couple of really powerful starts in my life prior to divorce. I actually, in my 20s, I started again by moving out of state when I was right out of grad school, and I started a new career. And that really was a catalyst. Moving to the East Coast was a catalyst for me to learn about my creative side. And then I came home, and in my 30s, I changed careers and started my own business. So that was another start again moment. And now I'm a photographer. I've been a professional photographer for 20 years. So I've had those be brave, start again, you can do it moments before my divorce. But I will say my biggest start again queen moment was when I decided 4 years ago now that I wasn't happy, and it was such a daunting change to make, but it's been the most impacting choice I've ever made in my life. It's completely getting divorced and starting again in my 40s around how I see myself, how I view relationships, how I view sex, and so much more has really given me such a richness that I couldn't have even imagined 4 years ago. And so my podcast has been such a great platform to have conversations like we're having today. And
absolutely.
To so many other men and women who've gone through something similar about such an array of topics. And if you know me a little bit by now, you know how I love my out of the box topics. And so being a Start Again queen now in my 40s is really giving me the permission to say the things that I really want to say that I wasn't giving myself permission to do in my 20s and in my 30s when I was doing those other start fresh chapters. I was still very much in my recovering or in my good girl stage. And now I call it a recovering good girl. You're a recovering good girl, aren't you? I feel like you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I break all the rules.
You've been one a lot longer than I have.
I break all the rules. In fact, when I am coaching women through starting to date again, that's one of the first things I highly encourage them to do is, who made up these rules? Like, it's so crazy. And so, yes, I encourage breaking the rules. And I don't know that I've ever referred to myself as a recovering good girl, but yes, I do identify that way for sure. And I love some of the topics that you have been addressing in this most recent season. And I know you are kind of refreshing and getting ready for your next season.
Well, I've actually
But
started season 3.
oh, you did.
In
Okay,
full swing of
perfect.
season 3 now. Yes.
That's amazing. And I know you have a theme to this particular season. I
Yes.
haven't thought about doing a theme for these
Yeah,
podcast seasons. I love this, though. I might have
I
to steal
do.
that idea
Yeah.
and run with it.
Season 1 for me was all about, well, the first year after divorce. I like to call it the honeymoon stage, which was a
Oh,
huge part of
yes.
my start again season as a divorcee, is where it's like, the movie The Wizard of Oz, where
Yes.
Dorothy's in Kansas and it's just gloom and doom and it's just black and white blonde. She's just unhappy. And then she goes through this horrific storm. I call that my divorce.
Yep.
The storm. And then she lands, she just drops into the magical world of Oz and everything's just singing and bright
Yes.
and joyous.
Uh-huh.
You're laughing because you remember. You're laughing
I
because
do.
you remember. That
And this
was
is
my
so good.
honeymoon stage after divorce. And for the listener who is going through that right now, just wait for it because it's just so fun. It's so delicious and
Just
fun.
wait for it. Yes.
Right. So my first season was like, oh my God, let's talk about this and that and dating and kink and having hometown visits and dating like a dude and all the out of the box topics. Like, what can I try that I've never tried before? And I'm going to
Yes.
talk about that on my podcast.
Yes.
And then
So good.
season 2 is like, how can I even push the envelope even more? So that was my extra spicy season.
Yes.
And now through my own life journey, I had a major setback this last summer of 2022. And I call it my official setback after divorce because I hadn't had one yet. Took 4 years to have mine. Everyone's
Yes.
different.
Everyone's
And so
different.
now I'm on my comeback. So this season is all about the comeback after
I love
divorce. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. You address some really important topics on your podcast. And I think the reason I say important is because it's the shit most people don't talk about.
It really
And-
is. A lot of people don't talk about the things I like to talk about because they're so taboo. It's like, why is sexuality so taboo?
Why is it taboo? I have no idea.
Right. And for me, after divorce, becoming more comfortable with my sexuality was one of the most fantastic outcomes because, again, I was so conditioned. I'm the daughter of a minister. So I was so conditioned. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm like,
like,
yes, okay,
the light
now I
bulb
get it.
goes on, right? So I was so conditioned to be so, shameful around my body and shy and not have my needs met in every way, especially in the bedroom. And so sex was always so disappointing for most of my life.
Isn't that so sad?
I got divorced and then not anymore. No, it is sad. And that's why I love to talk about it because it shouldn't have to be that way.
It shouldn't have to be that way. I, through some of my dating conversations, I've kind of helped guide women to the more enjoyable sex. And this is my most incredible moment when I see like this light bulb go off in their eye, like the light shine in their eyes because they finally had good sex for the first time in their life. And I'm like, you did it. Oh my God. Yes. Now there's no going back for you.
There is no going back. There is no settling around that. No way.
No. Okay. So when you look at this whole story of yours and how far you come, and now you're in this comeback phase, which I love. What part of your story do you think is most inspiring?
Well, I think it's what we've been talking about. I think it's finding your voice. I think divorce, I use the phrase recovering good girl, but really what that means is I found my voice and I'm going to talk about the things that matter to me. I'm not going to hold back in the way that I used to please other people. I'm much more bold than I was pre-divorce. I'm just much more, I'm so curious. And so I think the inspiration is like, okay, I'm actually going, instead of living for others and pleasing others and making sure everyone else is okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to please myself. I'm going to think about, God, what do I need? I mean, I never asked myself that question until after divorce, recently even. I mean, honestly, because we're just, as women, we are not collectively, I'm just speaking, generally, given that permission, especially Gen X women. Maybe
Yep.
Gen Zs are given a lot more permission to be like, this is what I need because we've helped pave that for them through our
Yes.
own limitations around how we felt about being able to really say what we want and need. So I think that for me is what's most inspiring, and what I want to keep talking about is use these setbacks in your life, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a divorce or losing it, it can be anything,
Oh,
losing
for
a
sure.
job or any
Yep.
setback, and
Mhm.
allow it to give you that opportunity to really decide, okay, what do I really want from this one life that I have? And
Mhm.
it's not to be not having my needs met, and it's not being happy with my sexual experiences or my intimate relationships or how I feel about myself. That's not what I want from this one life that I have. And so
Right.
divorce really, more than anything that I've gone through, is like, okay, what are you waiting for?
Mhm.
Now's the time.
Yeah. Well,
So
and yeah, absolutely. And they say, with every ending is a new beginning. And I think so much we've heard this that people kind of are like, whatever. But
oh,
it is so
so
true. Like
true.
every opportunity to say, okay, now what do you want?
Yes,
I love it.
I know that's the burning question. What do you want?
It is the burning question. And
Mhm.
I most recently had to sit down and ask myself the same thing. Like, I think we all have these moments again and again and again where you get the opportunity to say, what do you want? And it is so powerful. And to your point, many, many people, mostly women, but many people uh, have never given themselves permission to ask that question or to think about even what the answer is. So I love that you're doing that. Um,
I have a question for you. This is
okay.
actually a topic on season 3 of Sadie's Divorced and Happy. Are you good at quitting things?
Me? Yes.
Are you? I love how you just yes. See, I have
I
learned that I need to be better at quitting things.
My best example of this is when it comes to reading a book you don't enjoy, I will put a book down and never finish it. And I've met a lot of people who are like, "Oh no, like I started this book, it's on this best book, Reese's books. What is it? Her
Reese Witherspoon's
book club,
sure,
her
right.
book club list, right? Like, or it's Oprah's book club, and everybody feels like, well, this really important popular person said I should read this book, and I started it, so by golly, I'm going to finish it. And I'm like, oh my God, no. Life is too short to be
Right,
reading books you don't enjoy. Put
right,
that shit down and move on to
right,
another one.
right. I love that. People need to use that metaphor when it comes to relationships.
Yes. And because I have been divorced 3 times, this has actually been a little bit of a point of contention for me because I think that people look at me and think she's a quitter
I bet they do.
when
I have no doubt they judge that. Of
a
course.
hundred, 100%.
Right, right.
And then every time, inevitably, that I have a conversation and I walk them through each one of those marriages and why it started and how it ended. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, like it's understandable how my life played out the way it did. But part of that is a little bit like I'm shameful about I would say I used to be about the idea that people would think I'm a quitter. But to answer your question, I fully stand behind it. No, I will fully quit something that is not working for me because life is too damn short.
Yes. And I love that. And I'm going to take some of that good practice that you have at quitting because I am stubborn. And when I commit to something, I'm like, I'm all in. Rah! And I've
Yeah.
learned I got to be better quitter. I have to be better at quitting.
Yeah.
Quitting leads to good things, just like committing does.
It does. And I think it just comes down to answering that question, what do you want? And is this thing providing you what you want or not?
Right.
And you always have the ability to choose differently.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I that's one of my I'm going to be 50 in February. I'm like, okay, that new decade,
Oh,
I'm going to really learn how to be a better quitter.
I love it.
And do less. Be
Oh
less
my gosh,
productive. I
yes.
know. I know.
Well, I follow a lot of entrepreneurs and specifically women who are making a fuck ton of money. And I follow them on purpose.
Sure.
And they all
Pass some
inevitably
of their
say,
names on to me after
oh, I
this.
will. I will.
DM me some of their names. I want to follow them too.
I will.
Okay.
They all consistently say the same thing, that their goal each year is to work less hard and make more money. And it goes
Sign me
against
up.
everything that we are taught
I
in this society
know.
when it comes to
So
money. It's like
true.
we're in this hustle mindset and let's,
Yes.
boss girl and work and work harder. And a few of these people I think are getting it right. And that is the work smarter concept. But it's not about strife and struggle and how hard you can work. It's about how enjoyable your life can be. And there's ways to do that easier and flowier and more fun. And I'm like, sign me up for that.
Absolutely. Especially as a business owner, because there's just always a million things you can be doing. I
Always.
mean, it's so you just have to figure out how
Always.
to balance that.
Yes. And I think everyone's balance looks different. But I always try to come back to balancing it out. And of course, trying, because I'm the same as any other entrepreneur and I work weird hours and all the time. And my kids tell me every so often, you're always working. And I thought, God, this is not what I want them to think life is about, that I'm always working. The problem is I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like I'm
Right.
working, but I'm setting an example. I'm modeling for them. But enough about me. So what do you think?
It's your podcast.
It is my podcast. But every other episode is just me, where I get to talk about whatever I want. So today we're here to talk about you. And my next question is, what was the most surprising challenge you faced on this journey thus far, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, this is a little bit out of the box. This answer is
I love it.
it's not a traditional answer, but I have learned how emotionally unavailable I have been most of my life.
Oh, that is
Uh-huh.
good.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
That's
and I'm just owning it now. I'm just gonna own it because it's true.
Yeah.
And it all connects back to my childhood, like most of our stories do.
Yes.
Where again, I was raised to be like, you have to be this good girl, you have to be pleasing, you have to say the right thing, you have to do the right thing, you have to wear the right thing, you have to be all of it. Like, it isn't about who you really are. It isn't about like what do you really want? What do you really, it's about be this person so you're accepted and you're seen and high favor, and then you'll have a good and happy life, and yay. So of course, like most of us, like yay. And so like most of us, what other choice did I have? I mean, that's what I was basically told to be. And so
Sure.
I bought into it and really went for it. I was like the most Christian you could have been in my 20s. I was just all in and did all the good things, and went to grad school right after college, and I worked so hard and I did all these things, and I was charitable and I volunteered, I did all the good things.
Yep.
But was I really being an authentic person? Did people really know me? Did I really know myself? No. So I'd get into situations, relationships, I'd have a lot of not having my needs met, because I didn't even know what they were to begin with.
Yep.
And feeling very discontented and feeling very stressed out that I wasn't married, and I didn't get married till I was 34. And I didn't marry my best friend. I didn't marry someone who, in hindsight, was, the right fit for me. I married someone who looked good, presented well, said the right, and so I married someone like myself, really.
Yeah.
Right. I met my match. Right.
That's so insightful what you just said.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I met my match, and we weren't, for me, we weren't as happy as we would have been had we both been more authentic people. And now my ex is very happy in a relationship, and I'm happy for him. I think it's fantastic. It's actually quite inspiring. So for me, I have just learned, because I would have friends after my divorce, like friends I've known since college, say to me, why didn't you ever tell us you were so unhappy? Why didn't you reach out to us? We would have supported you. And I'm like, I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed. Right. And so my point in telling all of this is that I have just learned that, oftentimes we women, we really get like, you beat our little drum about how emotionally unavailable men are. We get all up in arms about it, and
Yep.
like men are the enemy, rah rah rah. When really, we who continued, I'll just say I've chosen unavailable people because I've been unavailable. We
It's
kind of
100% true.
we meet people where we're at, and so
Yes.
my setback this summer, which is really what is exciting about it now, is that it's kind of like the 2x4, like bang me, like, when are you gonna learn? When are you gonna get it? You're like, you've already been divorced 4 years. Come on now, lady. Like, come on now. Do this. So it's like, okay, I'm just in the season to learn about me, to be more open with me, to spend time with me so that I can really learn and know myself so that I can be the type of person who's able to be in an emotionally available relationship. And I do not blame anybody who hasn't been able to meet my needs because I haven't been able to meet my own needs. So I have had hurt feelings. It's not like, their choices didn't mean anything to me. And of course I've had hurt feelings around people's choices, but ultimately I own that. I choose my own company. Nobody forces me to hang out with anybody, and I'm responsible for who I spend my time with and who I invest into. And if they're unavailable, then really that's a reflection of me. So I have I'm owning it. I'm just
so
owning
beautiful.
It. Yeah,
but so beautiful.
It feels kind of fun to say it.
Yeah.
Because a million other women are me. It's not like this is my own little special story and I'm so unique.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true.
You are special and you are unique, but
of course. But you know what I'm trying to say. This is just a common theme.
But we are all this way. Yes. I have most recently been telling people that the people you meet energetically, they're a match for where you are. So what kind of person are you attracting? What is the pattern that you've been seeing in the men that you're attracting, if you're a female attracting men? But the person you are attracting is mirroring to you where you are and what shit you have to heal. So like, it's so beautiful that
Scream it from the rooftops, please.
You've it clicked for you and you're like, hang on a second.
Yeah, it really did.
It's a mirror on me.
It really did. Took 4 years after divorce, but yeah, I can say that out loud now. I don't feel bad about it. I'm like, I think it's super common what I'm experiencing.
It's super common. Yeah. And also I completely relate to everything you said because I was also attracting emotionally unavailable people because I had been emotionally unavailable for most of my life. And it was a lot of just ignoring my own feelings and not acknowledging what I wanted or desired was kind of the basis of all of that, which, most women do.
Right. And unfortunately, we live in a society that has not equipped men to understand their feelings. And so we always have this challenge, just like we live in a culture that hasn't given women permission to be the sexual beings that we are. So, I think to be fully human, men and women should be able to be both, right? We get to be sexual beings and emotional beings to be fully human, which is my passion for the rest of my life, is to be a fully human.
Well, and that gives me chills because there's a bunch of people right now in the spiritual community talking about that transition that is happening where men are learning to become more emotional beings and women are kind of embracing their sexual, really both are learning their power and then will becoming more what should be more human, but it hasn't been what was traditionally considered.
The feminine and the masculine, yes.
Correct.
It's so caught up in all that, right?
Yes. Well, okay. So my next question, and I have thought about doing a podcast episode, one of my solo ones, to ask myself these questions. But this is my favorite one that I ask my guests. What advice would you give to the younger you?
Do less. Play more.
Oh, that's good.
Date a lot of people. Have a lot more sex. Have a lot of curiosity around your own pleasure and experiences. Take yourself less seriously.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm still learning that one. But yes.
I would. My 20-something self was so intense. I mean,
So intense.
I'll always be a little intense, but she was just like, I gotta do everything. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
and that's so like in my DNA. I mean, I was raised by parents who, for one thing, they were farmers. They grew up on farms where you just worked your tail off. And
Yeah.
then, they put that energy into their careers. And so, like you're talking about how your daughters say you work your kids say you work all the time. I mean, my parents, as a pastor and a pastor's wife, plus my mom was a teacher, like there's no real resting. Who rests
No.
with roles like that? And so
Yes.
that's what I was modeled my whole life, right? So I honor and respect my parents so much. I mean, they're lovely human beings. They didn't do anything wrong. It's
Right.
just
Right.
they didn't know how to chill out, So
Right.
that's something I just had to learn on my own. It wasn't modeled to me in society, a capitalistic society, and being a woman. Oh, P.S. where you have to do 110% to even
Correct.
stand a chance, right? So you throw all that at us. I mean, come on, we're doing the best we can.
Everyone is. Yes.
And we all are, yeah. So at least I have the awareness, and now it's like, okay, put it into practice. Because it's one thing, and this is true as a coach. It's one thing to have the information. We all have
Correct.
a lot of information.
Yep.
But it's another thing to change, to put that into our behavior. So
Well, yes. And I just recently said this publicly. It's one thing to know what to do. It's quite another to do it.
to actually do it. Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so for me now, it's like, okay, it's time to do it.
Mhm.
Because you know a lot of shit. Like it's time to do the shit. Like do it. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Isn't that cool that we even that I just have to say that is a luxury and a privilege. And I'm just gonna
Yes.
own it, that I even have the choice to be able to do the things I know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't have that luxury. They're just surviving. They don't have that luxury. So I mean, I'm just gonna thank you, universe, that I even have that luxury, that I can even, practice what I preach.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, and it always comes back to gratitude and appreciation for what we have,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
that's amazing. See, you are doing the things.
Baby stepping. Yes.
I love it. Okay, so my next question is, where are you going from here? What's next for you?
Right. Again, this is I love this delicious. Where am I going? Where are you? Deep thoughts. Remember Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live? Deep thoughts. Do you remember that? Yes. You don't remember that?
So good. No, I did.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
YouTube it later. Where am I going? I'm going into the direction of me. I'm really, all my life have been focused on the external gratification, the relationship, the career, the accolades, the exterior. Do I look good? Am I good enough physically? Am I pretty enough? All of those things have been such a focus of mine. And so now I'm just really in the season of, I'm going deeper into me. I want a deeper connection with myself. I really want to have more intimacy with myself. And this is new for me because I'm an extrovert. I love my people. I'm also an anxious attacher, if you're familiar with attachment styles. So that means I really love my people.
Yeah.
And when they're not around me, I get a little nervous, I get a little anxious. Where are my people? So you're laughing, but it's true.
No, I love your description of it is why I'm laughing, because I'm like, yeah, that's spot on how you describe that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, where are you? I love you. Come back. Anyway, so for me, it's like, okay, you're going to have a season where you're just going to have a little more time to yourself. And that's a good thing. And it'll feel a little uncomfortable and you'll get a little anxious. And when you're anxious, here's what you're going to do. And it doesn't mean that I'm, an island in and of myself. Of course, I have my core group of friends. I have my love bubble. Have you heard of that term, love bubble?
No, but I love that.
Podcast. Yep. Identify who your love bubble, who's in your love bubble, like those core people. So I have my love bubble, and for me, it's like, okay, this is the season to fall in love with the person that I would fall in love with. Who do I want to fall in love with? Well, I should be that person. That should just be this outside of me. It should be me. Like, so when I do decide to date more intentionally again, it's like, wow, I am in love with this person that I am. So no matter what you do or say isn't really going to impact me as much if I wasn't as comfortable with myself. myself because I have cared a lot about what
love
people
that.
think of me in my past, and I'm just ready to
Oh,
kind of
sure.
let that go.
I love that so much. 110%. Yes, yes, yes to everything you were saying. Like, if everyone could do that, the
But it's
entire
a
fucking
practice. Is it?
world
Yeah, but you know
would be
what?
so much better.
Again, like let's talk. Check in with me. Hold me. And not that you're my
Yeah.
accountability partner, but I'm just saying, like I do have friends that I'm like, okay, are you writing this list? Because I'm writing this list. Are you working on this part of your self development? Because I am, and trying to hold each other accountable. And I don't mean like, well, I'm doing it. I'm so great, but I mean that my point is, it's just like doing yoga or eating healthy or having less screen time or whatever you decide is a healthy lifestyle. Like your own self care, your own
Yep.
self development is a lifestyle. It's
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
They call
Yeah.
it doing the work, but I like to call it more like a practice. It's a practice.
Well,
And
and
so it
this is why,
becomes like part of my life, not just
yeah.
something I do once in a blue moon.
And I say this a lot when I'm talking to people about meditation because it's called a practice,
Right.
your meditation practice. And the reason it's called that, along with everything else that you just said, is because it takes practice. And I think, yes, we need those points of accountability or those check-in partners to be able to say, like, how are you doing? Remember, you said this was important to you. Is it still important to you? Are you doing the things that we all need, that like the mirror to be like, hey, knock, knock, knock. Are you doing what you said you wanted to do? Oh, you're not? Did you let go of that goal, or do you need the encouragement to get back on track?
Right.
Like,
That's why I
it
think we should have
depends.
like a group for. Well, you know what? Actually, speaking of groups, this is a nice segue. So whoever's listening who identifies as a woman and is interested in this, I created a room called the Red Room. I created it last January, and it's a space for like-minded women who want to explore their sexuality, their sensuality in a safe, non-judgmental environment. We've brought in experts who've talked about an array of great, juicy topics. And I love this group because we talk about everything around like
Yeah.
sexual experiences. It's not a group where we vent about boyfriends. That's not or girlfriends. That's not the group. The group is providing a space to be more of the sexual beings that we desire to be. And so if anyone listening is wanting more information, I can send you a link and they can learn about it more
Yeah,
on my website.
absolutely.
But I love that space because we can hold each other accountable to trying new things and not feeling ashamed and not feeling like, oh, I can't do that because that's wanting to have this BDSM experience that well
Mm-hmm.
something must be wrong with me. It's like, no, it's
Mm-mm.
just you being creative and wanting to experience and explore. So
Yeah.
I'm all about accountability in a variety of ways. It doesn't just have to be
Yes.
around self-development in the sense of what we typically think self-development looks like. Why not have self-development around your sexuality?
It's so
Sensuality.
important. And I think, so my theory on this is the more women get in touch with their sexuality, the more they are in touch with their true power. And that scares the
Absolutely.
shit out of this world. And that's why we're taught not to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, powerful women are a force. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that work is amazing. So yes, definitely. I will get that link so I can include it in the show notes, because undoubtedly there is somebody, or more than one somebody's, who's like, hell yeah, sign me up. I want to join that room.
the Red Room, it's so fun. We meet
The Red
every
Room.
third Wednesday of the month. We read books. We have really honest conversations, playful conversations, and it's the gamut. Like some people in that room can't even say the word, I don't know what would be a word, but they can't even think about like having a threesome, like that, like just freaks them out. And other people are like, oh my God, I had the most amazing threesome. So I mean, it's like the gamut, and everyone's fine. Like be where you are. There's no judgment. There's no pressure. You get to be where you are on your sexuality. But if you have
Well, and
curiosity and you want a safe place to be curious, that's a space for you. So
that is such valuable work. It probably doesn't feel like work to you, but what you're doing is so valuable because it's giving permission and the safe place to be curious, which is the first step to an authentic person. I love that.
Mhm.
That's so good. I didn't even know that about you.
Mhm. You're
I
always
love
welcome.
it. Okay, so even though I will include all of your social links, I like to ask this question in case somebody is driving in their car and wants to, at the next stoplight, go follow you on Instagram or wherever you are. How can
Sure.
people find you?
Sure. Well, on all social media platforms, so Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and the TikTok, I'm at Sadie's Divorced and Happy. So at Sadie, Sadies, Sadie's Divorced and Happy. I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes, but yeah. So they can follow me on social at Sadie's Divorced and Happy, and my podcast is titled Sadie's Divorced and Happy. It's on any podcast platform. You can also listen to it for free on my website, divorcedandhappy.net, where you can also download my 8 tips to happiness after divorce for free. Boom, how fun is that?
How fun is that?
And learn more about the Red Room. And I also have some blog entries. I try to keep up a blog. I'm like, just like you, I can't do it all. I can't keep up a blog and a podcast, but I had fun trying. But then I'm like, you know what? This is good enough.
Well,
podcast is good enough.
And again, we should give ourselves permission to quit. Like, yes, try new things.
I really did. I tried it and then I quit. But I do have some fun blog entries on the website, too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And my podcast just drops every Wednesday. I'm in season 3, The Comeback. So every Wednesday, there's new content. You can find me again on all major platforms, any platform, divorcedandhappy.net.
I love it. I love what you're doing. I love what you're becoming. I love who you are. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I love delicious conversations like this. Thanks for having me.
It's so good.
It is.
Okay, listen. Are you struggling to find what your true purpose really is? You should try journaling. At the very least, it will get you to a better feeling place than where you are right now. I've created a set of journal prompts to get you on your way to discovering who you truly are and where you want to go from here. My free download is called Journal Yourself to Joy, and it's available at shaunalee.com under Free Stuff. These are my tried and true journal prompts that will raise your energy, increase your positivity, and brighten your day. Download yours today.